Rob here from East Fork Christmas Tree Farms and the Flanagan Homestead. I'm out in my field right now getting ready for Christmas tree sales this year, and I get a lot of questions about what's the best type of tree for me. And there are positives and negatives of the four main types of trees that we have here. We have nobles, we have grand firs, we have Dougs, and we have Nordmans, and they all have their positives and their negatives. So let's go out into the tree farm and see what some of the differences are. And whatever you do, just don't choose a fake tree, a petroleum-based product from China. No. Okay, here's an example of a grand fir. This grand fir is about 12 feet tall. This one's 9. Both of them might be a little bit bigger than you put in your home. But some of the real positives about the grand fir, if you like a really full tree, not a lot of space, that you could shear tight, a nice dark green, grand firs are really good for that. They are also the best smelling tree in the world. When we go and put one of these on a shaker to get the needles out and we're shaking it and my face is up against the tree, it smells so good. Quite often I'll pick up a few of these branches that have been trimmed off and just throw them in my truck on the way home because they smell fantastic. Drawbacks, if you like gaps between branches to hang needles, there's usually not many there, and they tend to dry out a little bit faster than the nobles and Nordmans. But grand firs are a fantastic tree. Okay, behind me here we have some Doug firs. Doug firs are similar to the grand fir in that they fill in tightly, nice and full. The drawback again is you can't hang needles on the outside as well because they won't hang, there's not space. They aren't as dark as green as the grand firs. They don't smell as good as the grand firs. I guess the greatest value to our customers here is if it's one, it's a family tradition, or two, if they want to save some money, it is our least expensive tree, and usually the least expensive tree on any farm around here or any lot. So that's the Doug fir. Okay, right here you're looking at the king of Christmas trees here in the Pacific Northwest, the noble fir. The reason people like these nice firm branches, usually they leave the tips out a little bit so that ornaments can hang off the branches. They last a long time and they do smell nice. So for many reasons, right now the noble fir is considered the king of Christmas trees. Most sold tree here in the Pacific Northwest. Okay, we've already stated that the noble fir is the king of Christmas trees here in the Pacific Northwest, and that is true. It is by far the most popular tree sold in this area. But if there is a challenger to the throne of the noble fir, I am walking through a section of that tree right now. This is the Nordman fir. The Nordman fir looks a lot like a noble. Many people don't know the difference. Most of my customers don't. They are a little bit more silver tipped on the needles on the bottom side of it. They do have very strong branches. If you want to hang heavy ornaments on it, the branches are really strong and can hold heavy ornaments. The one negative there is their needles and the branches are a little bit more prickly. Not much, but a little bit more. And if you're hugging your Christmas tree, which I don't think you are, it's gonna not feel quite as nice as the other trees. But the one other negative of this Christmas tree is that it doesn't smell quite as nice as the grand fir or the noble fir, but the real positive to this tree is they last for forever. I've recommended these to my friends, and you can get these up right after Thanksgiving and you can take care of them, and you could still have them up in the middle of January. They're still going to have their needles. They're going to be looking great. So they're the longest lasting tree, and if there is a challenger to the throne of Christmas trees here in the Pacific Northwest, to the nobles, it is the Nordman fir, and this is the type of tree that I now put in my home every year. One of the things people ask when we're shaking the tree on the shaker to get rid of the extra dead needles is they're like, man, there's a lot of brown needles falling out. Is this tree healthy? And the answer is, on a big tree like this, yes, a tree could be completely healthy and have a lot of brown needles falling out from the inside, not the outside. Okay, the reason for this is the purpose of the needles is to gather the energy of the sun and through photosynthesis give energy to the tree. And On the outside, all of the needles should be, for the most part, green because they're exposed to the sun doing their job. But on a massive tree like this grand fir that is nearly 12 feet tall, as the branches grow out, the needles that are on the inside of the tree no longer get sunlight. So they should turn brown, die, and fall off. And so the brown needles that we're shaking out of the inside of the tree, that is completely natural and actually a healthy part of the tree's life. If there's brown needles on the outside and they're falling off when we shake it, that's not a good tree. You'd also be amazed at how many people comment, well, there's brown on the outside of this tree, it's not a healthy tree. Well, when they come up to the tree, they see brown spots like this. This is just the tips of the branches that were sheared off earlier this year, and they just got caught up in the tree and did not fall out. So if there's branches here, just toss them off, and then you'll see a green tree. If there's needles on the existing branches that are a bunch of brown branches, then that's not good. But again, a lot of times we shear the trees and the branches just didn't fall to the ground and they're hung up in the tree and dry out. Those are not part of the tree. Don't worry about that. We'll shake them out. Now that you've picked your Christmas tree and you're taking it home, there's only one really important thing you're going to need to do, and that's make sure you get water on it almost right away. And if you can't get water on it right away, what I always do and I recommend is before you put the tree in the stand, get the stand ready, get everything in place, and then right before you put it in the stand, take the stump of the Christmas tree and cut off a ½ inch off the bottom. Okay, and what that does is when you had the tree cut at the Christmas tree farm, it starts to coagulate. The best analogy I could give is just like when you get a wound, your blood starts to clot and heal up. The tree does the same thing. You cut it, it starts to heal the wound and block that up. So what you need to do is cut that off and then put it in the stand immediately after cutting it. Some people recommend throwing aspirin in there. I have tried this. I cannot quantify whether that helps or not. The aspirin is an anticoagulant, so it could potentially help. I can't swear to that, but I do recommend, and this is what I do, is right before you put it in the stand, cut that last ½ inch off the stump, open it back up, put it in there, and then usually the first few days the tree takes more water then than it will the following days, but make sure you keep that water level up. If it dries out and then air is exposed, it will close up that wound again. So especially the first few days, really make sure you're getting a lot of water in there. Your trees are going to draw a lot of water. And other than that, enjoy the Christmas season. Thank you for watching. If you found value in this video, please hit like, maybe even share it and subscribe. We'd love to see you at East Fork Christmas Tree Farms in Ridgefield, Washington, where we will always have a strong crew ready to help cut your tree down, haul it out, shake it for you, and get it to your car. Most of all, Merry Christmas.